You spin ahead 20 years and you see that Deloitte is in fact today one of the top consultancies in the world, and you see that Starwood had to sell below market multiples to Marriott, and as a result was not fundamentally successful despite the brands that you know of. That's what solidified in me that I was going to start a research institute for cracking the code of a high-performing team. What does that really look like? For the last 20 years, that's what I've done. And so what I'm going to be talking to you about today is the research of 20 years. And I'm going to be giving you some, I hope, shockers. Because what I have found over 20 years is that the way we think about leadership today is sometimes wrong-headed. That we're displacing our focus to leadership, and we're not focusing as much as we should on the high performance of the team itself. We focus so much on leaders, and we say leaders, good leaders need to give feedback, but we don't focus on what is the role of the team. Great leaders make sure that teams give each other feedback. Great leaders, we used to think that they gave energy to team. We kept the energy going, but in reality, great leaders make sure that the team has each other's energy. We talk about accountability, and is that the leader's responsibility, or is it the team's job to hold each other accountable? What I've recognized in studying the highest performing teams in the world over 20 years is that they have a commitment to something that I call teamship. And what I want to go over with you today are a number of shifts. We identified 10 critical shifts that a team needs to make to move from a focus on hub and spoke to the leader to actually waking up and enlivening a group of people who will not let each other fail. Now, as a result of that, this I find was broken down into 3 big areas. One, behaviors, and we're going to talk about behaviors of high-performing teams. We're also going to talk about process. Actually, how people work is as important as the behaviors itself. Process is as important. There's a lot of people that believe that mindset is the most important thing. Well, I have a great quote for you. You don't think your way to a new way of acting. You act your way to a new way of thinking. You don't think your way to a new way of acting. You act your way to a new way of thinking. The opportunity of establishing very simple new practices among a group of individuals can actually transform the nature of the team. To try to transform a mindset is more difficult, and frankly, what I've seen over 20 years is virtually impossible versus getting somebody to adopt simple practices, and as a result, they actually transform the way they think about themselves and others. I learned that, and that quote, by the way, actually came from AA. In our 20 years of research, we've been studying the most important practices for transforming humans, and we've looked everywhere. We looked at Weight Watchers and why they had a statistically higher weight loss than other weight loss programs. We looked at AA. How do you take somebody that was literally in the gutter and bringing that person around and transform that individual? What we found was that the value of the peer-to-peer relationship was the greatest lever to pull in transforming a human life. The idea of a group of individuals showing up and doing a weigh-in together at Weight Watchers was as important as the diet and other things themselves. It's the accountability. It's the fact that you've got a group of individuals that won't let each other fail. They give a damn about each other. And I had to create a word for that because I couldn't find one. I couldn't find a word. We had collaboration and all these, but I created a new word. I called it co-elevation. When I saw a team really crush it, that team gave such a damn about each other that they pushed each other higher.